All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Week in Review. It is good to have you all with us once again. It's been an interesting week. A few big stories to kind of unpack. We're gonna sort of tighten it up a little bit today. We've got just a few that we really want to talk about, but they're all pretty interesting, I think. Obviously, the big news of the day we're going to start with is the story that you've already heard. That's about Twitter's new benevolent overlord. We're also going to talk a little bit more about some of the NFT developments this week, particularly what happened with Reddit's digital collectible avatars, as well as some brief talk about the UK's new PM and his crypto policies and what they could mean going forward. So let's get started. I have with us Tim and Tom from editorial, Navesh from research, and Nathan, our resident trader. Welcome, fellas. And let's kick it off with the story that's on everyone's mind and on everyone's Twitter page so far today. And, well, I guess really most of the week, and that is Elon Musk's takeover of the company is formally complete as of today. This has been going on for a while. I think April was when he first floated that he wanted to do this, although I'd have to double check. But yeah, it's been well over 6 months that this process has been going on of this will he, won't he kind of back and forth. And it seems, in the last couple of weeks, he made his decision to go ahead and pull the trigger on this. So, yeah, I think the final acquisition amount was $44 billion. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's what I saw this morning. I've also seen that the stock price is up, and people are rejoicing, just rejoicing. Also worth pointing out, however, that Musk has already begun purging the company. He's fired the CEO, the CFO, and the chief legal counsel all on his first day on the job, and which was an event that was sort of, premonitioned maybe by his surprise visit to the Twitter offices in San Francisco this week, in which he sort of posted a goofy video of himself entering the office, and then it came out that he was walking around the office looking at what everybody was working on and maybe making some decisions in his head. So yeah, it's happened. It's done. Elon owns Twitter. How do you guys feel? I mean, I don't know if have your feelings changed at all? Like, does it seem different now that it's actually official and formal? Do you think this is good for the space? If so, why? Why are people so excited about this? To my mind, it seems kind of strange that in an industry that prides itself on the concept of decentralization so much that its favorite gathering place could be essentially bought out by one single unilateral party, in this case, a single individual, and that is celebrated. Yeah, Navesh, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I was just going to add a personal anecdote. Like, I was meeting some of my relatives this week, and they wanted to talk to me about the crypto market. And the only thing they had to say was, I hear that Elon Musk holds some Bitcoin and Dogecoin. And that is kind of like their reference point. And yeah, like these people are quite active on the trading sites, but they don't have much knowledge of the market and the insights of it, like we talk about every week. But it's a big plus for our industry, actually. At least the perception is that it's going to help the crypto industry. And yeah, like the first tweet that he sent today, the bird is freed. So that should mean that yeah, there won't be much censorship and like blacklisted users. And also, yeah, Binance's participation and its investment, that counts. Like, I mean, Binance is like a very big arm right now. It funds everything that it can, but yeah, like it has a minor stake, and it is one of the biggest platforms for sharing information, not only in our industry but in the political space, in the sporting world, everywhere. So it counts as a positive. I don't see anything negative about it. It actually, I thought that it should have helped the price as well this week, but I guess macro events weighed upon it, and I'm sure Nathan would add more color to it. But yeah, it's a bullish event.
Cool. Well, since you bring it up, Nivesh and Nathan, we've got you here. Would you like to? Do you have any just quick comments on the market reaction to the Twitter news before we start like unpacking like the philosophical, I guess, implications of it?
Yeah, I mean, I think the reaction has been more of a stock market reaction than a crypto market reaction, obviously. And we're not seeing any new highs in Bitcoin or anything like that since that news. So I think the main moves are for obvious reasons and implications are taking place in the stock market. So yeah, I mean, crypto specific, I don't see it being that bullish, to be honest with you, for crypto at this stage. So I think far more important will be the Federal Reserve meeting next week, to be honest with you, than the Twitter news, unless Elon Musk has got some immediate plans that we don't know about for crypto payments on Twitter.
Yeah, that's thanks, Nathan. That's a good point. I mean, that last point you mentioned right there, we did just run a story, like right before the call. Tom was able to get to it. And Nivesh mentioned Binance earlier. We know now, at least at some level, there's communication between Binance and Twitter, possibly even between CZ and Elon Musk. I'm not sure that Binance wants to take, or really wants to take an active role in integrating crypto into the platform somehow. Tom, you literally just researched this. Like we're polishing the story as we got started. Can you tell us any other detail that you found out?
I tell you the truth, like I haven't seen a lot of information on it. It looks like Binance is, like forming a team that would be like, especially like geared towards like providing solutions for, or like ideas, for crypto integration and finding like spam bots and everything like that on Twitter. But it's not actually like, I haven't seen confirmed information that this is in partnership with Musk. It might just be like an initiative from Binance itself, and hoping because it wants to be proactive and useful and everything. I'm sure Musk would. I mean, I can't read his mind or anything like that, but he strikes me as someone who kind of likes proactive people. So maybe he'll make use of it, maybe not. But yeah, like for me, it definitely like means Twitter is going to keep like growing, most probably as a crypto hub, especially if like payments are like integrated, like better integrated. NFTs like keep getting better integrated and everything like that. Like that sounds like the minimum and what like Musk has been hinting at.
All right, cool. Thanks for clarifying that. Yeah, I wasn't. Well, obviously, it was just breaking this morning, so it was hard to really tell the extent of the details that were available and what was kind of just rumor and what was really happening. But considering the size of Binance's stake in, well, I think they contributed $500 billion to Elon's buyout. It wouldn't surprise me that to see them, taking an active role in the company's direction. Okay, so generally, people feel pretty good about this. Tim, I haven't heard from you yet, since we got to hit the whole panel on this one, though.
Absolutely, yeah, I got some opinions.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's really one separate point first. I think it's really interesting that Dogecoin has gone up so much on the announcement. It has, as far as I'm aware, outpaced every other major asset. It's up like 32, maybe 36% on the week, as opposed to Ethereum, which is about at 17% last I checked, which I think is quite remarkable. And it made me think of something I read in Nathan's email today about how the current rally seems to be quite retail driven. And the fact that we're seeing Dogecoin pump so much, and of course, Dogecoin's a favorite among sort of retail investors, people trading on Robinhood and such. It kind of, adds credence to that kind of whole thing that, what we're seeing now is very retail driven. The fact that Dogecoin has pumped so much on the news of Twitter being overtaken by Musk. Second point, though, like, what are the long-term implications of this? I think really good for crypto. One thing that I haven't seen so many people talk about, but I think is really important, is Musk's intention to make like a quote-unquote everything app. Now, like, in Asia, for example, especially in China, they have I think it's called Weibo or WeChat, and it is this app that is all encompassing. It's sort of the only app you need to do pretty much anything in China. It's instant messaging, it's social media. You can do peer-to-peer payments, you can do online shopping from it, and it's all wrapped up under this single app, single brand. Everything is interconnected, and obviously, people in China love that. It's convenience. And I think Musk wants to do something similar. And I think that he said as much. I can tell you that. There was a Reuters article out earlier in the week. And I think that his intention is Twitter will be the first step towards this everything app. It's the social media part of it. And it comes when he purchases Twitter, it comes with all of this, like, crypto integration is already being developed, like the tipping feature, the integration with Bitcoin Lightning Network and Ethereum. You got any NFT integration as well. Basically, everything that he needs to integrate, like peer-to-peer payments and even sort of online shopping, is already there. And I think that was a big consideration when he decided he wanted to purchase it. Along with, of course, he says the main thing is like free speech and such. But yeah, I think that this idea of him wanting to create an everything app, I think it will be very, how should I say it? It will definitely involve crypto. It's clear that Musk is very open to the idea. Tesla bought Bitcoin. He's even in some of his, like, I guess, the texts or social media messages that were used in the trial were going to be used in the trial between Musk and Twitter, saying that he might want to introduce micropayments and Dogecoin integration and such. So he's clearly already thinking about that. I think it's sort of the path of least resistance. And so, yeah, I don't know how long it'll take. Could be a few months, could be maybe a year, but I feel like that is the way Musk plans to take Twitter. That's the direction I think he's going
in. Yeah, Tom.
On Tim's point, it's funny because, like, a lot of people say, well, Musk doesn't have any experience with social media, like platforms and everything, and that's true. But he's the creator of PayPal, so, like, he does have a lot of experience with, like, payment systems and everything like this. And I think he would be actually, like, surprisingly well placed to be able to, like, create like payment rails for crypto. And in general, yeah, like, I'm quite optimistic about all these integration things and everything. But you did raise another point earlier about, like, why is crypto kind of like cheering having its main social media hub, like, being taken over by, like, this one dude. We kind of just got lucky that, like, he has a pro crypto stance. But this is not really an ideal situation for, like, Twitter is the epicenter of, like, crypto culture, crypto talk, crypto, like, information sharing. It's really lucky that we got, like, someone who's pro crypto, even if he does have, like, a love-hate relationship with Bitcoin. It seems like. I do think that you've got to, like, just, like, kind of, like, take the wins, especially since right now we don't have a decentralized, like, social media platform yet. Like, even though there are multiple projects, like, building it on Ethereum and Solana, and probably other ecosystems. So yeah, take the wins. It's been a rough year.
Okay, well, I mean, that's kind of a pragmatic way of looking at it. Any other thoughts before I venture my opinion? Okay, cool. I think this is terrible, you guys. This is, like, the worst thing that could happen. Like, we've essentially put our main communication platform in the hands of one dude and his whims. Sure, he talks about free speech and, advocating for unbanning accounts and all this kind of stuff. But what happens when someone tweets something that pisses Elon Musk off? Who holds him accountable? What is there in place to prevent him from just arbitrarily banning the accounts that he doesn't like? What's to stop him from losing interest in 3 years and just moving on to something else? And maybe like the most important question I have for everybody on Twitter is, what makes you trust Elon Musk so much more than anybody else? What's it about him? Like, if the whole idea in this whole space is don't trust, verify, why are we trusting this guy?
Oh yeah, yeah. Good questions. I would say that like the previous C-suite of Twitter. I mean, everyone complained about them because they would shadow ban people, they would block opinions or news that they didn't like or that didn't align with them. So, I mean, yeah, Musk could do the same, just like anyone could do the same. Zuckerberg could censor things on Facebook. Bezos can decide what he wants to or doesn't want to show on like Amazon Prime or sell on Amazon. But I feel like these people, at the end of the day, are proven businessmen, and sometimes they make greedy or selfish decisions in the name of profit, but other times they do things that are actually good for the companies to create value. And for the most part, I'm not trying to say that Musk is perfect, but I mean, Tesla has done a hell of a lot in like forwarding the electric car space. SpaceX has done very well in reusable rocket technology. Starlink as well. He gave that out for free to the Ukrainian army. So I guess I would say the track record of his previous actions. He can be immature at times for sure, obviously, but I feel like when there's something on the line, I don't think he can be worse than the people who had control of Twitter before him, which have all since been fired, because at the end, to me, that feels like an oligarchic dictatorship, really, there, where there's a few people are deciding what can and can't be said or what kind of stuff should be promoted on the social media side.
Okay, I'm going to push back just a little bit. Well, Tom, sorry, you got a response.
No, go ahead. That's cool.
What makes it better to say? Why is it better for one man to have all that power then, as opposed to the shadow oligarchy that was opposed to Twitter? Why is it preferable for one guy to take a controlling stake, and we say, oh well, it's going to be subject to my whim now? Because ultimately, a majority shareholder can hold the company to his whim. There is no, barring like actual laws in place to stop you from doing things that are not legal, he can do whatever he wants.
Go ahead, Tom.
I kind of agree with Jacob. Like, yeah, what's to prevent him? Like, I'm not a big fan of dictatorships, even benevolent ones. But I think there's a difference between like trusting Musk and being like, if you take things at face value, this is a good development. Maybe the Twitter like acquisition is not going to be a good thing for like crypto's future, but there's the possibility that it is a good thing, and there's a possibility that like Musk will actually like help like crypto grow and adoption like get better and everything. You don't, but like I think I'm not a Musk fan. Like this is a like polite way of saying it. Like, but at the same time, I like and yeah, I think you would be stupid to like trust him because he tends to be mercurial and he changes his mind really fast. And like he, I'm still convinced he decided to like stop accepting Tesla Bitcoin payments because everyone made fun of him for his like Dogecoin like SNL skit. I know there are probably better reasons, but this is the reason I believe.
Undoubtedly figured in. Undoubtedly.
Yeah, but there is the potential of this being a good thing, and so far, like he seems to like want to help. So I think it's like worth it to be optimistic, especially since we don't really have better alternatives for the moment. Like, but hopefully, like, I would not say, oh, Elon is in charge now, so everyone can stop like doing the like working on decentralized social media and everything like that. That's not the point, like so yeah, it's just as I said before, like taking the wins when they come. And if he starts like being detrimental to crypto, then we'll be there to notice it.
Yeah. All right.
I have a question for you,
Yes,
Jacob.
Nish. Go ahead.
So, yeah, I completely agree with the point that giving all the power to one man does not make sense. And it has, like, history gives us a lot of example that it has never ended well. But who else would you give the control of Twitter, like as a space, as a platform where we get most of our action? So, like, what kind of organization or anything? Like, what's your idea on who should have the ownership and who should like have the say in all the directions of the company?
That's a very good question. It's one I've actually thought a lot about, just not in just the context of this particular deal, but like what is the most fair way of distributing ownership of any institution or entity, or whatever the case may be. In Twitter's case, being an incorporated C corp, it answers to shareholders. An ideal world, I think, like in a perfect decentralized arrangement, Twitter users would be shareholders, right? Maybe. Through what's happening over the last 10 years and like being able to orchestrate decentralized governance through blockchains, I think something like that might be theoretically doable, but it would require some kind of rewriting of, I don't know, I guess the law. I don't know the exact mechanism to get there, but my general thoughts is that that ownership should be abstracted away from singular entities where possible. The problem with that is that, and we've observed this since like the founding of the United States and back to ancient Greek democracy and so on, is that what do you do when there are acute crises that have to be addressed, which usually do typically require quick decision making on the part of usually one person. So I don't think you can abstract that away either. But yeah, so I guess to answer your question, Vesh, I don't know what the perfect product looks like, but I tend to gravitate toward decentralization, I guess.
Yeah. I would agree with your point, but like I felt that even in our decentralized industry that we say we have, it's I feel that there is a need for a strong leadership, and and I
Yeah, that's
think
true.
that Musk can actually provide that. We haven't had a good or at least reliable, trustworthy social network in a long time, and
Mhm.
I would say that maybe he introduces some fluctuations in the crypto market. Uh, Maybe him. I wouldn't say that if the oligarch before him didn't ban all the crypto conversations, then he would be able to do it either. But I think that the fact that even if he makes drastic negative changes, it'll bring attention to our market, and in the long run, it should be good for the social media space. Maybe we have a competitor which comes up after Twitter falls, but I'm seeing that there should be a positive change, and it will involve decentralization for sure, and we should have a more secure and reliable network, a social platform. That's what I hope, and yeah.
Yeah, that's what I hope for as well too. Like I keep waiting for the great decentralized social media app to come along, and so far it isn't here. I know Lens kept telling me, in March or April that it was coming, but then when they launched in May, they were like, not you. So, anybody know what the state of affairs is with Lens, by the way?
Yeah, I think it's working pretty fine. We have a
Is
couple
it?
of. Yeah, it's fine. They have like a few thousand profiles, but again, I think most of them are hunting for the Lens airdrop, and
Yeah.
there's not much organic activity on it, and it's too crypto centric. So we go to Twitter, we find our alpha there. We like most of the people do. So yeah, it's mostly because of the airdrop, but it's live. The product is live, and if it catches on in the future, maybe it has some potential.
Do you still need to whitelist Spot to access, or is it open to all users now?
No, I don't think you need whitelist spots anymore. It's open to you.
Oh, cool. All right, I'll check that out. Okay, we could probably argue about this for the rest of the hour, but we shouldn't. Any last thoughts before we move on? It feels like this is a mixed bag to me. Some ups, some downs. We'll just have to take it as it comes. All right, cool. Let's move on to some other cool social media news this week. It had to do with Reddit, and they're really slick. I'd have to say, NFT marketing. Oh, excuse me, digital collectible avatar marketing campaign. Yeah, so I think Tom, you were going to talk about this one. Reddit basically tricked 3 million people into buying NFTs, right? Or did I read it wrong?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. It was a great move. Great move.
Great move.
I'll give a rundown for people who don't know. Basically, Reddit back in July started like offering Reddit avatars as NFTs, but they never called them NFTs. They just called them digital collectibles, and they're minted on Polygon and everything. But Redditors, when they go to claim them, don't need to interact with crypto or blockchain at all. They just need to create like a Reddit vault, which acts as their wallet, and they can just like get whichever mint or get whichever NFT they want as part of these like Reddit like collections. So it kind of didn't get any pickup at the beginning, but like recently, those Reddit avatars like have been like doing insane numbers on secondary markets. Like on OpenSea, they were like millions of dollars worth of trading volume on them. And some of the more expensive ones were like trading for quite high prices. So this is funny because like the trend was not actually started by NFT people; it was started by Redditors. But Redditors have tended to be very like skeptical about NFTs because they kind of believe, well, you know, for all the reasons people are skeptical about NFTs, like they're stupid images and they're boiling the oceans and everything like that, and they're very very expensive. But all of a sudden, all these Redditors like started like getting these avatars and really liking them, and I think some were even like given free avatars like sort of airdrops on, and all of a sudden Reddit just like collectively started like really liking NFTs. So they created 3 million wallets. This was an announcement from I think like 10 days ago, but like 3 million wallets had been created for specifically this Reddit avatar, these Reddit avatar collectible avatars, sorry. And yeah, so this is great for the NFT space because like Reddit brings loads of people in, but most importantly, like it's kind of like a winning strategy. It looks like, anyways, like referring to NFTs as digital collectibles looks like a winning strategy for brands who want to like use the technology in the future. So this is really good. And the funny thing is like, even though at the beginning Redditors maybe didn't know that these digital collectibles were NFTs, they quickly realized, you know, they're not stupid. But they were like, oh, you know what? I've changed my mind about it now that I've got some. So a lot of them were like posting on Reddit in different like subreddits about how NFTs were cool all of a sudden, and they never really got them before. So I don't know. I found it was quite a funny story.
Yeah, I thought this was pretty amusing too. And I mean, it was amusing at first, and then I started thinking about it a little more deeply, and thought this is actually really, really clever. Tim, you did some reading and writing on this subject as well. Is there any details we didn't touch on that are relevant here, or you just want to go straight to talking about the implications of what Reddit has done here?
Not that I can think of. I think Tom's summary was really good. Yeah. Okay.
It's the word digital digital collectibles is also is that Facebook's term as well? Excuse me, Meta. I have to look that up.
A lot of people have used it. Most recently, I think it was like the FIFA Collect Plus. They were calling their NFTs on Algorand digital collectibles as well, but a lot of people have.
Okay, yeah, it's becoming a trend to use that terminology. I don't know that. I mean, I haven't done a comparative study, but just from watching the news, this seems to be the most successful, I guess, branding initiative you would maybe call it.
It's not that different from when crypto became Web3, like during this cycle, or even like in 2017, like it was like not Bitcoin blockchain or not crypto blockchain. I don't remember.
Okay. Yeah.
It does. And I saw someone say something really, really great. I can't remember who it was now. I think it was Luke Martin. He was saying that it's just like other famous rebranding initiatives in crypto included, like instead of yield farming, you're doing play to earn, and everyone was just like outraged at the idea. And his like comments were like, "Wait, play to earn was yield farming the whole time?" And yeah, that's super interesting because like that's essentially the same steps, like you're farming tokens, but like the angle is completely different. It's like, oh, like we're trying to like make it like a ludic like experience. So I think crypto kind of just lends itself really well to new vocabulary, new narratives, new rebranding initiatives, and everything like that. And I wouldn't be surprised, for even crypto to like start being referred to in a mainstream way as like digital assets, digital like crypto assets. Maybe like this is the vocabulary that governments use to describe crypto. So yeah, interesting.
Yeah, I think that's 100% the case. Like the word asset is going to take a pretty central role in our vocabulary, basically from now on. Probably always should have. Anybody have any of these NFTs? Just out of curiosity. I'm not much of a Reddit user myself, but did anybody? Tim?
The crypto briefing Reddit account has one.
Oh, yay!
So they were given out for free in a few different waves. We were in like the first wave, so we got one from the collection called the Singularity. It's not worth anything. It's about 0.02 ETH. The collection's it has like 1.2 million NFTs in it, so they're not rare. But yeah, like the more rare ones, I think some of those were given out to active users more recently, which I think like spurred adoption.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah, Nadesh?
I have one question. Would you buy one? Because I haven't really like researched much into it. But as a Reddit user or looking for some money in the short-term future or the long-term future, do you think it's that those NFTs are valuable? Like the rarer ones?
I mean, I have no idea, really, if they have long-term value. Tim, what do you think?
Yeah, I was asking Tim.
Right. Sorry, I didn't realize. Yeah. I think that there's like an aspect of them being limited. So they collaborate with various artists, Reddit do, to produce these collections. And some of them only have about 250, others have maybe 1,000, 2,000. And as far as I know, they're going to be limited forever. So in that respect, if there's a collection that's really popular, and if the artist behind it goes on to do something else in the future that's also big, then yeah, I think that they could stand to gain value from that. But more generally, I think that like their value is very tied to the hype in the market. and demand from like new entrants, right? I think the reason they went up in value so much was because it was people outside of crypto who were getting FOMO. Maybe their friend received one for free, and then it shot up in value, and they sold it, and they're like, "Wow, I just made $2,000 for free." And then they're like, "Oh man, I want to buy one of these, and maybe it'll go up in value too." That's what I believe fueled this sort of mini Reddit collectible avatar rally. So I don't know. Fundamentally, I don't think that they'll, outside of what I explained before with like certain artists, I wouldn't imagine them gaining much value unless like there was a full blown bull market going on with loads of new participants in the market.
Thanks.
Yeah, Navesh.
Nope, I was just thanking him. Yeah, I agree
Okay.
with him. Because
I think
we're going to have a lot of platforms doing that. So Reddit communities are kind of popular, and I think last year one of those communities staged a big short squeeze on major funds through GME and AMC and all those meme stocks. But yeah, like, would I be looking to buy an NFT from the platform after 1 year? Uh, I'm not sure, but if it's rare and if it's from an artist who is still active now, also, yeah, then it could fetch you some value. Otherwise, I'm a bit skeptical.
I think yeah, Tim kind of hit it on the head there, and I think this is generally true for most of the NFT art space, maybe most of the art world, generally speaking, is that it does come down to the name of the artist in most cases. Yeah, if let's say, like, just an example we talk about a lot, like if Tyler Hobbs continues to produce work and continues to gain notoriety, you know, he may become a known figure, and one day Tyler Hobbs will be an ad, and all of his work will still be on the blockchain. So, in terms of like long-term value proposition, producing good art on the blockchain seems like a solid plan if you can develop the name and the brand, and of course the talent. But yeah, like, I don't know, maybe Bored Apes will still be valuable to some extent in 100 years for their antiquity value. I'm not sure, but I think it's probably the name of the artist that's going to be remembered more than anything. Any last thoughts before we talk about markets? Or actually, no, we need to talk about politics first, then markets. All right, cool. Politics it is. Other big news this week, big international news outside of the crypto space, is that the United Kingdom has a new prime minister, I believe the second in as many months. Tim, you are our resident, our resident of the UK in this conversation. So we'd like to hear your take a little bit on what you know about Rishi Sunak, what his standing in British politics has been. We know he's got some pretty crypto forward ideas, and yeah. So, what do you think this means in terms of a great world power being led by what seems to be a crypto advocate?
Yeah, I would go as far as to say he's a crypto advocate, definitely. So yeah, quick rundown on the history of Rishi Sunak. He was the Chancellor of the Exchequer, which is the US Treasury Secretary for Americans out there. So basically equivalent to Janet Yellen at the moment. And he occupied that role from 2020 to 2022 under Boris Johnson's cabinet. The first thing he did, like, regarding crypto, is in 2021, he put forward this idea for a group that would research a central bank digital currency, not too dissimilar to what pretty much every major nation is doing right now. They've all got some kind of research going on regarding CBDCs. So that was sort of the first thing. Since then, earlier this year in, I believe, April, he put out it's kind of like a report along with some guidelines. Basically, it was like a declaration of the intention to make the UK a global crypto hub. And there was many different parts to this. One that made the headlines was that the Royal Mint would be minting its first NFT. Not altogether that important, but just shows that they're willing to experiment with the technology. The things that were more important was the regulatory approach. So first on the agenda, just like in the US right now, is a stablecoin bill. The UK government wanted to recognize stablecoins as a valid form of payment, and that would bring them under the regulatory purview of other forms of digital money. So that's kind of a big step towards regulating and integrating the space, because once something's regulated, then excuse me, companies can then start using it, trading in it, without fear of any kind of like nasty shocks from the taxman or from regulators. So that was a big improvement. They also have this sandbox scheme. I think it's the Financial Conduct Agency have implemented this since 2015, and it was a sort of a ratification and an extension of that. Basically, it means any crypto companies in the UK that are trying to build something new and innovative don't really need to worry about harsh regulatory oversight while they're building. So again, it's quite welcoming to anyone wanting to innovate. I think there's one more thing as well that they were planning on doing. Let me see if I can get my notes up. Oh yeah, there's also they were soliciting opinions and allowing feedback from the public regarding how they should tax DeFi and DeFi protocols. So again, that showed that they're willing to work with the public and make sure that they get the legislation right, instead of like killing innovation, which is a fear in the US and in other countries as well. So overall, yeah, I think it's a positive development. There has been some fear mongering on social media I've seen this week. A lot of people saying that he's this authoritarian figure that wants to implement a CBDC that will control everything, and it'll be programmable money. And it's just the same kind of CBDC fear. And while there's some good points there, that it could be used for creating this authoritarian hellscape, there's absolutely no indication that he wants to, or that any CBDC will, for that matter. So yeah, it seems like a bit of hysteria to me. Oh, and one final thing as well that I didn't actually know about until he became the PM earlier this week is during the previous leadership race for the Conservative Party, which he's a part of. This happened in January. The previous Prime Minister Liz Truss won it. But during that race, he was interviewed by someone, and they asked him a couple of crypto questions, one of which was, do you prefer Bored Apes or CryptoPunks? To which he responded, Bored Apes. And then they asked him if he preferred Bitcoin or Ethereum, and he gave a diplomatic answer saying that he holds or would hold a basket of different cryptocurrencies. So yeah, it's quite a little funny thing. I'll post it in general after, if anyone's interested in watching it. It's a very short clip. But yeah, that's basically Rishi Sunak and his views on crypto.
Cool, thanks, Tim. I saw that video of him answering those questions as well. Yeah, it was kind of cool to see a politician give straight, just Bored Apes, sure. But I'm not surprised by his more diplomatic response about holding both Bitcoin and ETH. To the UK guys in the room, for those of us who may not be as familiar with British politics, I had to learn some in college, but a lot of that has escaped me by now. To what extent can the Prime Minister influence policy on either a day-to-day or on a long-term basis? Like here, the president is really quite limited in what they can or how they can or cannot execute authority. They can't just make things happen, and I understand it the same way in basically any advanced democracy. But in particular, like what challenges do you see ahead for any crypto advocate who takes a head of state position, and particularly what conditions are on the ground in the UK that you think he's going to have to deal with? Either Nathan or Tim, if either one of you would like to jump in first.
Well,
yeah, Tim.
Considering sort of the greater macroeconomic turmoil that's plaguing the world right now, I don't think that crypto is going to be like on the top of the agenda. And then obviously as the Prime Minister, he's going to be dealing with a lot of stuff. So I think it's important to look at who he appoints as the Chancellor of the Exchequer, his previous role. I think he's appointed Jeremy Hunt. I don't know much about Hunt and what his views on crypto are, so I can't really comment there. But I imagine that he will be appointing someone who's also, open to innovation and wants to see the technology succeed in the UK. So, I think it'll just be like a slow and steady kind of thing, like, yeah, but overall long term positive, as long as Sunak stays in power.
Cool. It sounds like he's first priority is to put the right people in the right place and go from there. It's not a bad way of starting. Nathan, did you have any thoughts you wanted to add, or?
No, I agree with what Tim's saying totally.
Okay, cool. Other guys, so everyone else, from abroad, what does this look like to you guys? Tom or Navesh, do you have any feelings on this, or does it matter to you?
I like what Tim said at the end. He was like, as long as Sunak stays in power, because have to remember Liz Truss got like booted after like, what was it, like 45, 48 days or something like that. So let's see if Sunak can like serve a longer term. But generally, yeah, I agree with Tim. The guy seems open to crypto, which is a good sign. And I remember actually like writing an article about how the British crypto industry was kind of like sad when Sunak stepped down from his role, like when he was like working under Boris Johnson, because they said that like under Sunak, regulators have been really cooperative, and like that Sunak had like not just Sunak, like one of Sunak's own appointments, like one of the guys he was working with, don't remember his name, but or his title, but essentially like the heads of the crypto industry in Great Britain was saying, oh, like these guys have like deep intrinsic knowledge of crypto, and they actually toured around the world, including like they went to different like crypto hubs, including like Portugal, Singapore. I think they went to the United States to get to know, to have like on like not hands-on experience, but like to get like a real feel for what the industry was like. So I this kind of comes back to what we were saying about Musk, like you shouldn't pin your hopes on like just for one dude, but it's a good sign that like he's open to crypto, and he's open to like and he looks like he's genuinely curious, like he genuinely enjoys it. Like I saw that clip of him talking about Bored Apes and CryptoPunks, and he's smiling, like it's not like kind of like he didn't have to be prepped for that question. So yeah, like overall good development. Hope he stays, but let's kind of like see how it goes.
I think, yeah, he kind of strikes me that way too. He it seems like there are two kinds of people in finance, as when financial technologies are invented or something is revolutionized. Or I think about like, when the first joint stock companies were being launched, like just imagine, there was going to be some people who were like, this is a cool new instrument, we should play around with it, I'll bet we can make a lot of money. But there were some other old timers who were just like, a share in a company? What is this? And I think that's probably a similar response that's happening with like Bitcoin and crypto. But Sunak strikes me as the kind of guy, like I think everybody in this team is, that we see the technology at this moment in history and think, okay, this is pretty neat, I want to see what it can do, rather than just immediately dismiss it as nonsense. So yeah, I think that generally that's probably a good thing to have in a position of power, as long as it lasts. That's Tim. So yeah, Tom.
Just a small addition. It's also like Sunak's quite young still, and I don't think I've seen any other global like heads of state of major yeah, like definitely not in major Western countries, like being pro crypto in the same way. Yeah, the only other person you can really think of is like Nayib Bukele in El Salvador, but like the country doesn't have like the same weight behind it. So,
Mhm.
Nivesh is unmuted, so maybe he's got like other people to point to. But like I find that quite positive that on the global scene we may have a crypto native.
Yeah, that's a good point. Navesh?
Yeah, sorry if you got disturbed by that term. But yeah, my question, like I don't have addition, but a question that is, my friend who studies sociology, and he keeps talking about the effect of symbolism in different states. I don't completely understand it, but yeah, it's like in US and in India we have like a president, and it's a republican form of government and the voice of the people, and they have like a culture which kind of represents the symbol. And in UK we have always had the crown. So I think one question that I have for Tim and probably Nathan is, what is like the general opinion of crypto in UK, and like what are the previous laws that it has brought up that's either supported or did not support the industry, and like how what are the general people doing about it? Because from the conversations that I've heard from Christian and Anthony before is that they really have a good active scene. They organize like small events in pubs, and they even have a lot of conferences. So yeah, could you shed some light on that?
Like I can try. It's really unfortunate Christian isn't here because he lives in London. You know, I'm sure that it's incredibly active down there compared to where I am. But um, I'm only really talking from sort of data points that I've seen about crypto adoption in the UK. And yeah, you see them every now and again. It's like X% of people have invested in Bitcoin or bought some. And it seems kind of high compared to the rest of Europe, I guess. You know, it's obviously, you know, more prevalent among young people. But yeah, just generally, the legal system in the UK, I think, is not as harsh as it is in America. This is sort of my own sort of read on it. And so it's good for innovation. Like if someone wants to start a crypto company, the government isn't going to come down on them like a ton of bricks and say, "Oh, you're breaking X, Y, and Z laws. You need to shut this down, and we're going to fine you a massive amount of money." I don't see that kind of behavior happening as long as someone has good intentions. So from that perspective, I think it's kind of what I was saying before is that the UK seems quite open. I don't know if I can add any more than that though, unfortunately.
Cool. Thanks, Tim. Um, yeah, the moving thread of regulation in the U.S. is always kind of scary, and they do come down pretty hard, and their memories are long. But as far as I can tell, like they seem to be actively actively targeting cases where someone has clearly like should have known they have broken the law. Like and like we got up in arms about UkiDAO a few weeks ago, but UkiDAO was offering derivatives trading without a license, and that you can't do that in the United States. And they didn't incorporate a corporate structure, so there was no liability protection. Everybody involved is accountable. That's just that. Those are the rules. And you can't really like make a case in something like that. Oh, well, I was trying to innovate or whatever. No, you were just running a platform without a license. So yeah, but even so, the way you frame it, like just the feeling of being in a place and being aware that you're less likely to have someone come down on you just for trying to. It's got to take some weight off the shoulders of developers, I'm sure. Last thoughts there before we do a quick market roundup. All right, let's do it then. I think everybody was, or at least I was surprised this week to see that we had something. I don't want to go so far as to call it a relief rally, but I don't know. Maybe. Well, let's discuss it now. Is what we saw some pretty encouraging price action this week, both in Bitcoin and Ethereum, and several of the alts. Well, we don't say alts anymore, but other cryptos doing rather well, at least early in the week. Nathan, with your sage-like wisdom, can you explain to us what happened here, and if there, anything we're missing?
Yeah, I think the Twitter news at the start of the week and the week PMI data from the PMI services data from the United States, probably the two biggest catalysts. People are now thinking that the Federal Reserve are not going to be so aggressive after the meeting next week. So 75 basis points, and they are expecting that it's going to be downhill from there. If anybody read my newsletter today, BlackRock, which is the largest asset manager in the world, I think over 10 trillion US dollars, they're now advising their clients that the Federal Reserve are going to start backing off after this month. So, there could be something in that. But I think for me, the bigger risk is the economy and also, the situation in Ukraine as well. And, if both of those continue to deteriorate, even if unless the Federal Reserve start an urgent round of quantitative easing, which would probably boost crypto, I think there's still quite a lot of risks, even if they're just going to, go down to 50 basis points in December and January. So I think the market, maybe that's priced in. We've seen stocks rising as well. So yeah, I think the market has pushed higher. I think next week's Federal Reserve meeting, if they do confirm what BlackRock advisors are saying, then maybe we can push higher another leg, but very skeptical given how bad the economy is and the situation with inflation and, the fact that, if inflation does continue to rise, then what are they going to do? They're just going to like 50 basis points, even if they aren't going to be so aggressive. So I think at the moment, what I'm looking for next week, personally, I'm looking for a fake move up to around 21.5, 21.7, and then a big reversal from there and a move down to yearly lows. So I think personally, I'm looking at it as a selling opportunity next week, and probably we're going to see some boring activity in terms of trading until we get the Federal Reserve decision next week. So I think the range that we broke out from was 18,000 to 20,400. Bitcoin's got back above 20,400 today. It kind of started to back off after we saw the bad results from Amazon. I think, as long as we stay above 20,400, then there's a strong chance that we could get one more leg higher, but very, very skeptical. We get past 21,700.
All right, thank you, Nathan.
Thank you.
Not financial advice, but
for sure.
thank you, everyone. All right, cool. Any the others here? Did you guys have any thoughts on markets in particular this week? That I know that in the last couple of weeks, especially with the last Fed hike, we saw kind of some odd moves with, well, if I recall correctly, prices weathered that one pretty well. They declined at all. Any surprises this week from you guys, or are you just kind of breathing a sigh of relief, saying, "Oh, thank God, finally"? Thanks, Tom.
Pretty neutral because I don't like. I personally don't. I personally don't have any emotions regarding like ETH and Bitcoin at the moment. Like, I'm not sure.
Good for you.
I'm not sure if this is it or if this is just a trap or anything like that. I'm not really thinking about it. But I was just going to say that that Amazon and Facebook took a beating this week, and if anyone ever tells you that crypto is too volatile, Amazon dropped by like 21% in a matter of minutes, and Facebook is now down more than Bitcoin in the last year. Bitcoin is down like I think 63 or 64%, and Facebook is down 68%. So congratulations. If you bought Bitcoin at the top, still doing better than if you bought Facebook at the top. I really hope you didn't
See, this is
buy both, but like I don't know, it makes me laugh because like everyone's always talking about like volatility being a problem in crypto, but like I feel like crypto people are like really well equipped for the current environment because this is what they're used to. And if you're used to things being like slower in stock market, this is quite definitely like a difficult year for you. That being said, as I said, I'm a bad trader. I don't have a lot of experience, so take what I say with a grain of salt. But take what I say with a grain of salt. But I think it's quite a fun situation.
sure. Well, thanks, Tom. I think I think it comes back to something we were talking about earlier. Facebook Meta is still run by Mark Zuckerberg is still the majority shareholder of Meta. He'll never let that go as long as he lives. I'm convinced of that. And I think it's a demonstration of what happens eventually when you give one person unilateral power with no checks on it. They will do something like pivot to the metaverse and crash the stock 70% or whatever. But again, I'm not a market analyst, so what do I know? Yeah, Navesh?
Just one thing to add about it. Yeah, I've heard from Chamath. I the Palit. I cannot pronounce his surname. The VC guy, quite famous on Twitter. Facebook is the most like owned stock by whales. It has the least amount of retail ownership. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
like anything that happens in Facebook stock, you can kind of take it as a leading indicator, sometimes at least. And if we are seeing a lot of volatility and weakness in that, then yeah, it's a sign that things are not good and might not be good for some time.
Yeah. All right. Well, what a note to wrap it up on. Thanks, everybody, for participating this week. It's been a pleasure, as always. Some good conversations all around. Tim, Tom, Navesh, and Nathan, thank you for joining us. Thank you for all in the audience for joining us as well. Have a great weekend, everyone, and we will see you next time.